This is ATR's Reviews, from anime to figures and beyond. Hey, this is ATR and welcome to the very first ATR's toy reviews in a long time. In this program, we review toys and action figures that do not originate from Japan. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at a couple of figures from Adventure Time, namely the Ice King and Marceline. And yes, I do thoroughly enjoy many American cartoon properties as well, but I don't usually go out of my way to buy merchandise based on the cartoons unless they are of characters that I really adore, as anime figures already eat up a significant amount of my income. Sometimes they don't even make figures of the characters I like. Take Avatar for example. There wasn't a Katara figure till much later, and the Toph figure hasn't even been made. I guess it's never too early to inculcate your children into following preconceived gender roles and to enforce gender stereotypes, but that's another topic for another time. Speaking of female action figures, surprise surprise, we do indeed have a figure of Marceline, and she, along with the Ice King, are two of my favorite characters from the show. If you have been keeping up with the episodes, you'd be hard pressed to disagree with my choices. Don't worry, this review will be spoiler free. But enough small talk, let's get to the meat of this video. The figures themselves are packaged in traditional carded packaging, something you definitely see more of when it comes to US toys. I personally despise this form of packaging, as you can never get them out unless you ruin the card. Other than that though, we have a basic illustration of Finn and Jake on the side, and on the backs, we have some other figures that you can get in the line. So without further ado, let's get these figures out of their plastic prisons. Before I begin, I would like to preface this by saying that these figures aren't like many of the collectibles that I've been dealing with on this channel. These are not for collectors, but for children. Still, that doesn't mean that we can't expect a certain level of quality. So, let's start off with the Ice King. He's pretty much a solid lump of plastic that feels, well, surprisingly solid. It does a decent job of replicating his on-screen appearance. Unfortunately, the detail both in terms of the sculpt and the paint job is somewhat lacking, but the show's simple designs cover up for that very nicely. I would have liked to have seen his legs and body replicated as well, but that's probably asking for too much. Sadly, his crown isn't removable, and his face is stuck in this scowling expression. Articulation-wise, his arms can move forwards and backwards and in and out. Basic at best. The Ice King only comes with one accessory, and that is Ricardo, who's detailed surprisingly well. This is of course his heart that he accidentally brought to life. A nice feature is that he can be placed inside the Ice King. Unfortunately, due to the lack of any instructions whatsoever, I really have no idea how to go about doing so, and after experimenting for a while, the only thing I found that works is simply pulling his beard away and just getting him in that way. As you can see, there's a little hole there to slide Ricardo into. I'm not sure if that's the proper way of going about doing it, so if you guys do know a better way, just let me know in the comments. A really nice inclusion, but again, perhaps, some ice beam effects would have been kind of amazing. Moving on to Marceline, right off the bat, there are some obvious issues with regard to replicating the character in figure form. The show's aesthetic has a ton of smooth, curvy lines and thin limbs that don't really translate well to an action figure. Unlike the bendy Finn figure, here we have solid, jointed, spindly arms and legs. Compared to the Ice King, the build quality isn't as solid due to the design, but that's to be expected. She does have a good range of motion though, a ball joint for the neck. She can move her arms forwards, backwards, in and out, and forwards and backwards at the elbows. Her legs do go forwards and backwards, in and out, and they also rotate side to side. And her knees do bend. Unfortunately, just as you'd guess, the joints are exceedingly loose, so don't come into this figure expecting to pull off some signature poses. Not to mention, coupled with Marceline's top heaviness, it's pretty much impossible for the figure to stand by herself. This being the case, I am simply ecstatic to see that they included a stand for her. She usually flies anyway, so this doesn't look out of place at all. Accessories wise, we have her signature bass guitar and an exchangeable vampiric face. Again, without instructions, this is the best pose that I could come up with that has her holding her bass. The guitar strap looks out of place since it's made of solid plastic. Other than that though, it looks great. I'm considering just removing the strap as the axe isn't seen with one in the show and it does actually peg into her hand. Last but not least, to exchange the face, simply pop her current face off, switch it out via this ball joint, and there we go. I really do like the added detail that went into her mouth. And for a size comparison, here's the Ice King with Transformers Generations Voyager Class Sandstorm and Marceline with a fellow bass player, Figma Akiyama Mio. In conclusion, I feel that these figures have far too little play value and would be better off as display pieces if you were to pick them up, which is interesting considering the fact that they are indeed targeted towards a younger demographic. As they're good, serviceable figures, and if you are as much of a fan of these characters as I am, definitely do consider picking them up. So, this is XR saying, see you guys in the next episode. And before you guys ask, nope, I have not run out of things to review, because just look at this stuff. More reviews will be coming soon, and thanks to everyone for the continued support.